It's 3 a.m. The bus pulls onto the base, cuts its lights, and stops in the parking lot lit by floodlights. For the kids inside, the next 13 weeks will rewire who they are. But the first 30 days will break them. That's the part most people don't really understand. The crucible at the end gets the documentaries. Graduation gets the family photos. The yellow footprints get the memes. But the first 30 days, the window where civilians stop being civilians and become something else, that's the part you can't really explain unless you've lived it. Most of them don't sleep on the bus. They've been told by older brothers, cousins, recruiters that it's smarter to rest now because they won't sleep much for a while. So they try. They lie back, close their eyes, pretend. Then the bus stops, and a voice they will hear in their nightmares for years starts screaming into the windshield. Get off the bus. What happens in the next 4 hours has a name in the Marine Corps. They call it the longest day. There's a reason for that. The Marines step off onto a set of yellow footprints painted into the concrete, heels together, toes pointed out at 45 degrees, the position of attention. They will stand on those footprints for what feels like an hour, while a drill instructor explains, at top volume, that they no longer own anything they walked in with. Their hair will be gone in less than an hour. Their clothes are about to be folded into a sea bag and shipped home. Their time, for the next 13 weeks, belongs to the United States Marine Corps. From this moment forward, the first word out of their mouth is "sir," and the last word is "sir." And anything they put between those two words better be exactly what they were asked. Army recruits don't get yellow footprints. They get something the older drill sergeants used to call the shark attack, though the Army officially renamed and softened it a few years back. Either way, the moment a recruit steps off the bus, they walk into a wall of noise. Drill sergeants in brown, round campaign hats appear on every side, pulling duffel bags, barking instructions that contradict each other on purpose. Drop your bag, pick up your bag, get in line, not that line, faster, faster. It feels like chaos. It isn't. It's the most rehearsed performance on the base. Every drill instructor in that parking lot has done this exact welcome dozens of times. They know which recruit will cry first. They know which one will try to argue. They know which one will shut down. The chaos is the point. Because the Marine Corps and the Army figured out something that took both branches over 100 years to perfect. If you want to build a soldier, you have to first dismantle the civilian. So that's what the first 30 days are for. The processing happens in a blur. Buzz cuts in under 30 seconds per recruit. The floor of the barbershop ankle deep in hair within the first hour. Medical screenings, dental, vaccinations, several of them at once, fired into both arms with pneumatic guns. Uniform issue, where recruits are handed massive sea bags of gear they don't know how to fold and don't have time to learn. Paperwork they sign without reading, because they're not allowed to read it, because reading slows things down, and slowness is the worst sin you can commit in the first 30 days. By the time they hit their squad bay or barracks for the first time, most of them have been awake for over 24 hours. Some have been awake for 36. They're handed a metal frame rack, a footlocker, and exactly 2 minutes to get into bed. Lights out. The room goes dark. And because the human body is what it is, they fall asleep in seconds. Three hours later, the trash cans start hitting the floor. The wake-up call in the first week is not gentle. Drill instructors slam metal trash cans onto the deck. They hit the lights. They count down from 60 while recruits scramble out of their racks, into their uniforms, into formation. Anyone slow gets dropped. Dropped means push-ups. The whole platoon does push-ups. The whole platoon does push-ups because of you. That's the second lesson of the first 30 days. The military doesn't punish individuals. It punishes groups. Because the military isn't trying to make you a better individual. It's trying to make you part of something bigger than you. And the fastest way to do that is to make sure your platoon hates being slowed down by you. Within 48 hours, the recruits have learned something that civilian life almost never teaches. Their actions affect the people next to them in immediate physical ways. Mess up your rack inspection, your bunkmate does flutter kicks. Forget a piece of gear, your squad gets smoked in the pit. Talk when you're supposed to be silent, the entire bay loses chow time. By day 3, they start watching each other, not out of friendship, out of survival. Then the body starts to break. The physical training in the first week is calibrated to expose every weakness. Pull-ups, push-ups, sit-ups, sprints, 4-mile formation runs in boots before sunrise. The recruits who came in soft are gasping by minute 4. The recruits who came in cocky are surprised to find that civilian fitness and military fitness are not the same thing. You can squat 400 pounds in a Globo gym and still get destroyed by an hour of holding a rifle out at arm's length. Sleep gets cut to 5 or 6 hours, sometimes less. Meals are eaten in under 3 minutes, standing up, no talking, eyes locked forward. By the end of the first week, recruits start to develop what older Marines call the 1,000-yard squad bay stare. It's the look of a person whose brain has been deprived of everything it relies on to feel like itself. This is the worst part, and it's intentional. There's a reason militaries have been doing this, in some form, since the Roman legions. When you push the human body and mind into a state of total exhaustion, total uncertainty, and total dependence on the people next to you, something in the brain starts to shift. The civilian identity, the one built from hobbies and music tastes and weekend plans and inside jokes with friends from high school, starts to feel very far away. What's close, immediate, and unbearably real is the bunkmate next to you, the drill instructor in front of you, and the next task you have to complete in the next 30 seconds. Around day 10, most recruits hit what's sometimes called the wall. They're exhausted in a way they've never been exhausted before. They've been screamed at, dropped for push-ups dozens of times, and they have not been told they're doing well even once. Because in the first phase, telling a recruit they're doing well is considered a failure of leadership. Some recruits cry in their racks at night. Some try to quit. The drill instructors have a script for that conversation, and it does not involve sympathy. You're not quitting. You're not anything yet. Get back in formation. But somewhere in the second and third week, something happens. It usually starts small. A recruit who couldn't do 3 pull-ups on day 1 bangs out 7. A platoon that couldn't march in step for 30 seconds in week 1 suddenly executes a column right with all 40 bodies moving in unison. The drill instructor doesn't praise them. The drill instructor just doesn't yell. And for recruits who have spent 2 weeks living inside a wall of noise, the absence of yelling is the loudest praise they have ever heard. This is the turn. The first 30 days are designed around it. The first phase, the receiving and basic training portion that covers roughly the initial 4 weeks, is where the military proves to the recruit that the recruit is capable of more than the recruit thought possible. Not by coaching them, by overloading them, then watching what happens when their bodies and minds adapt. Because they always adapt. The drill instructors know this. They've seen it hundreds of times. The only question is whether the recruit figures it out in time. If you've made it this far and you're getting something out of this, do me a favor. We dig into stories like this every week, so subscribe. By the end of week 3, the platoon starts to look different. The civilian gait is gone. The recruits walk with their heels striking first, arms in close, eyes forward. They speak in a clipped, structured cadence. They no longer flinch at the sound of a drill instructor's voice, because that voice is now the most familiar sound in their world. They have stopped thinking of themselves in the first person singular. The pronoun I has been replaced with this recruit in the Marine Corps, or quietly avoided in the Army. It sounds strange to civilian ears. To the recruits, it has started to feel normal. Around day 25, they get something they didn't expect. A short letter from home, or in some cases their first brief, supervised phone call. 5 minutes, sometimes less. The conversations are awkward. The parents on the other end of the line don't quite recognize the voice. It's flatter, faster, more formal. Some mothers cry because they think something has gone wrong. Nothing has gone wrong. Their kid has just spent 30 days in the most efficient identity replacement program ever designed by a government, and it's working exactly the way it's supposed to. By day 30, the recruit looks in a mirror and sees a stranger who is also, somehow, more themselves than the person who got off the bus. Their hair is gone. They've lost 10 or 15 pounds, sometimes more, but they're stronger than they were at home. Their hands are calloused from rifle handling and rope climbs. They have memorized their general orders, the chain of command, the rifle creed. They can disassemble and reassemble their service rifle in the dark. They can fold a uniform to a precision the average civilian would find ridiculous. They have learned to sleep when given the chance, eat when given the chance, and never, under any circumstances, complain. Here is the strangest part of the first 30 days. Most of them, when asked years later, will say they were happy. Not at the time. At the time, most of them wanted to die. But looking back, the first 30 days are remembered as the period when they stopped being afraid of being uncomfortable. When they figured out that hunger, exhaustion, fear, and pain are all things that can be felt and worked through at the same time, instead of obstacles that have to be avoided. That's the whole point. That's why the first month exists. The Marines who finish boot camp will go on to spend another 2 months in advanced training. The Army recruits will move into their white phase, then their blue phase, then on to advanced individual training in their specific job. They'll learn to shoot, to maneuver, to operate in a war zone. They'll go to fleet units, to Fort Liberty, to Camp Lejeune, to bases overseas. Some of them will see combat. Some won't. But every one of them will trace the moment they became a Marine or a soldier back to a specific morning in the first 30 days. The day the trash cans hit the floor and they got out of the rack faster than the count. The first formation run where they didn't fall behind. The inspection where the drill instructor walked past their footlocker and didn't say a word. The afternoon they realized the platoon had stopped getting smoked because of them, and started getting praised because of them. Those moments don't look like much from the outside. But for the people who were there, they're the moments civilian life almost never gives you. The moments where you discover, in your body and not just in your head, that you are capable of more than you thought. That's what 30 days at boot camp actually does. The rifles, the drill, the haircut, those are details. The real lesson is simpler. 30 days teach you that the version of yourself you walked in with was the floor, not the ceiling. The question every recruit eventually has to answer, sometimes years after they've taken the uniform off, is whether they remember that.